on land banking. Fortunately or unfortunately, I'm on the road. It's serious. And me and my partner, we just finished doing a, open house for 20 units of 3-bedroom townhouse in Valdosta, in the state of Georgia. It's about 3 hours drive from Atlanta. So we're just, driving back. But I have to be here when your chairman, someone's, you dare not say you cannot come. So I'm here. So if we have to do it in the car, whatever happens, has to happen. But that's also the power of relationship. There are a lot of powerful people than him who cannot make me do this. But when relationship exists, right, you remember where you're all coming from. And so you have to make adjustment and make room for such people. The conversation is land banking, and my journey started some years back. I've been in real estate for over 15 years, about 15 years. I used to be a property broker, agent, we call it here in the US, and sell for companies and get commission. I remember at some point, 2012, I'd opened my office in Ikeja. We will do flyers. And this is very powerful for all of you who are listening to me, because there's a scripture that says, if you are not faithful in that which is another man's, who will give you your own? I own my company, yet I will do flyer, marketing another man's estate. Use my money to do the flyer. I remember then in Kenya along, we have people who sell magazines and newspaper. Pay them to put each of those flyers, those things, just to promote. And I remember one of my days was the days of BlackBerry. I would do BlackBerry, and I'd always be a good writer. I will write and motivate. And at the end of the day, now say, oh, you can buy property, invest. And my first client then, we had never met. We met the day she came to pay. That was how good, my articles were. I would do WhatsApp broadcast. I just broadcast. The last paragraph would now be the offer that I have for the day. And it was looking good. But at some point, I started having issues. I remember one of the clients she had bought, the company said they were going to give us survey and some other payments. And my business was having some challenges then. So I put myself into a 21-day fasting, left the office, locked the place, couldn't even renew the rent. So just locked the office, was in the mountain. I'd gone to my church, so thinking that it was a coincidence, I didn't know she had tracked me to church. So I told my taxi to wait. I know this person. So stop the car, then walk to her, just excited. As I got close, she held my shirt. I started shouting, Egba mi o, Egba mi o. And people started gathering. Like, what happened? I paid him for land. Hey, I've not gotten the land. First of all, you didn't pay me. The money never entered my account. I was representing a company. You sold. True story. And it's important to share this because some of us, we love to enjoy we see us today, the man is global, he has property in Dubai, he has in US, he has in UK, it's all over. And you don't know where we started from. Okay, and what we've been through. And it's important to really clarify those things. So I had gone through all those kind of trouble. Of course, at the end of the day, the woman really got her land. It was just a false alarm. So by the time I eventually became the opportunity to become a developer, I remember even to become a developer, I was running because we're more of digital marketing firm. We're just doing brokerage or agency on the side. But our core business was email, SMS, and all of that. That was the core business. So 2015, I was running a training, and I just told her, I said, very soon I'll become a developer. Just prophesying, and again, I hope you are noting that. Use your mouth to say where you are going and not where you are. Okay? People will mock you. People will tell you are bragging. Use your mouth to say where you are going, not where you are. And after the class, one of the students approached me and said, Mr. Stephen, I know you're a good salesman and you have integrity. I have 250 acres in Ikorodu. I've been struggling to sell. That's even why I came for your training. I will give you 50, right? As you sell, come and pay me. That was how my real estate development journey started. Okay. And 2016, I had the opportunity to come to Silicon Valley. Went to Google campus, Facebook campus. In fact, I'm doing the 7th year. Remember, before and after, if you follow me on social media, you'll have seen it. And it was like the light bulb went off when I went to Google campus. What I saw was apparently looking bigger in terms of where developed locations. Of course, University of Ibadan had many empty land that they didn't develop. But the developed area was bigger than University of Ibadan. And I was like, but these people are tech, it's just technology. Went to Facebook campus. In fact, that was way bigger, over 250 acres. I was working hours and, went to Google campus. It just dawned on me that these tech guys, because, we were bragging that we're pioneer digital marketing, technology, can do websites. So it dawned on me that what we're doing back at home in Nigeria, okay, was just child's play. Because we just brag about owning something virtual. We never had physical substance backing the technology that we had. However, these guys in the US, they had property worth billions. Apple campus, for example, was built with over $5 billion. I was still there last week. I was still in Silicon Valley last week just to commemorate 7 years ago that I got that light bulb moment. You can call it inspiration. You can call it, depend on your belief system. You can call it the Holy Ghost ministered, whatever. Okay, based on your belief system. But at that point, I got convinced that I needed to take the business serious. However, I had a challenge. And don't worry, I'll still go back into what is land banking and all of that. But I need to inspire a lot of us to understand how this business works. But I had a challenge. My integrity was more important to me. I remember my first meeting with Mr. Clement. Those were the conversations, if he remembers. Like, these are our business. People can just spoil your name over nothing. And I'm particular about the fact that I've worked hard to build a good name. And like they say, a good name is better than silver and gold. So even up till 2018, I was just skeletally doing real estate. I was still a bit digital marketing. 2017, let me put it. But at 2018, I met a young man who was a consultant to another real estate company that had just started. In fact, that one was younger than we were. And he told me, looked at me and said, I know your capacity. If you really take this thing, right, the world will never recover from your exploit. So I remember saying to him again, I said, hey, I'm just careful by name. And he looked at me and said, name one billionaire who does not have a bad name, that did not carry his name for one negative thing. And again, another light bulb moment. So I kept, okay, Dangote. Today, people will say what they want to say, or $10. So it dawned on me that, look, I'm fantasizing about becoming successful. But the people I'm even comparing with, truly, people will carry news about them, whether good or bad. And if you notice, some of you who have studied from 2019, of course, 2020 was a major breakthrough. It was just at that point, it was not even We are no longer even playing. It was a whole different global acceleration. Now, why am I sharing this with you? Some of you here are investors and you are scared to invest because of all this, what people will say, what somebody has said. Listen, there is no great decision you are about to make that somebody does not believe is a wrong decision. You are the one that know where you're going. Every great decision is a risk, absolutely a big risk. But you have to make up your mind where you are going. Is it worth it? When we started expanding in Dubai, people were shocked. I'm a Christian, right? Going to an Islamic country. You know, I mean, everything just look opposite. But guess what? Our first year in Dubai, we did far more than we did our first 7 years in Nigeria. Every great decision is a risk. Some of you are property brokers. But again, you are scared to sell because, oh, they will say this, they will say that. Human beings will say what they want to say. And like I told you, if you are not faithful in that which is another man will give you all, guess what has happened to me? In my own business, I had never experienced the kind of shame that I experienced working for another man. I never. But one thing I enjoyed, you know, even my partner here still mentioned it today, is exceptional loyalty from those who work with me. Exceptional, because I was also loyal. I just share a story of how I was practically being embarrassed for something that they didn't even pay to my account. I was just marketing for them, right? But I eventually benefited from being loyal. Not just that, I also learned the mistake of those companies and improved on it. Coming into real estate, the first time I realized that there was no trust. So what I worked harder on was trust. Last week, to DK, who else did the company Macaroni? We're branding our company in Abuja, one of our products. Today now, Elimpo, Tatafo, right? Why will you be selling property in the US and still need to use Elimpo? Again, I understood the psychology. You see what I'm saying? That I'm dealing with people who do not trust. Okay? So you may not trust that, oh, they actually own that 20 property, right? Okay, we have brought a celebrity you trust. Okay? Who physically is present. Because I could even be there doing video and say, no, they're just deceiving people. Okay, a celebrity has come. He's showing you the property. That help influence your trust. And that is one of those things that then helped us as a brand, where the trust level is stronger. Because you have to really think it through. Even if somebody is coming to say, those guys are just scamming people, you would think it through and say, but all these celebrities who are constantly identifying with these guys, all of them could not have been, supporting what doesn't make sense. I hope this makes sense at all. Then I also built my own reputation, over 1.5 million followers across social media, such that my name in itself speaks. Having said that, let's go into what is land banking. But before we go into land banking, what is real estate? Real estate is simply, okay, land and every other thing that consists of it. Okay? Landed property and every other thing. Both the land and what is on the land, above the land, beneath the land. And so, by this definition, what you notice is occurring is land. Meaning that if you do not really understand the concept of land and how it works, you can't say you understand real estate. And this doesn't matter whether you're an investor or you're a broker. Okay? You just need to understand that land is the actual real substance that is being, worked on when it comes to real estate. Now, what is land banking? Land banking is the process of land aggregation for the purpose of investment or development. Let me say that again. Land banking is the process of aggregating land for the purpose of development or investment. So simply, land banking means you are buying certain lands in certain key locations, waiting for the value of that property to appreciate because of the unique location it is. Okay? And when it then appreciates, you can sell it off, make your profit, or you then develop it and build houses on it and sell off those houses or rent out those houses. That's why we said investment or development. Okay? Now, what types of land do we have? We have 3 types of land. We have what we call undeveloped land. We have what we call pre-developed land. And then what we call developed land. So I want to show you where I am now. I'm going to flip my camera. Let me see if I can flip it. Tell me where we are now. All this, what you are seeing now, is it undeveloped land? Is it pre-developed land or developed land? I want you to be practical. So I want to see you type in the chat box. All these lands you are seeing that we're driving through, undeveloped, pre-developed, or developed, which one? So I can see more of undeveloped. Mr. Clement, your people are very intelligent. These are professionals. Beautiful. So you are very correct. We are driving through an undeveloped land. However, the section we are even driving through is the type you might want to consider to invest. Number one, because it's facing a highway. Because there are certain factors. If the fact that it's undeveloped is just a farmland, it's just an empty bush, does not mean you should buy all empty bush. One advantage this one has is that it is facing a what? An express road. So the potential is even higher. Again, if you are learning type, I'm learning. What other factors do you consider? Because not just, like I said, just buying land because they say, oh, land banking. So it's facing a highway. In other words, transportation. And there are 3 ones. You have the airports, you have the rail transportation, and then you have the road transportation. So before buying any land, you want to ask yourself, what's the proximity to source of transportation? And you want to look at different types. Sometimes it may not even be close to road transportation, but it's close to rail. Sometimes not close to rail, but it's close to airports. So those factors are considered. You see, one of the advantages that Ikeja has till tomorrow, even Ikeja GRA. And that's why you notice as of today, I may have noticed that Marriott Hotel was open practically a year ago. And it's almost always booked. And you'll be wondering what's going on, meaning there's already deficit. Okay? And you have so many hotels on the island, even though people prefer island though, to mainland. But a lot of the hotels on the island are still empty compared to the ones in Ikeja. Why? Even when people are living on the island, sometimes they want to just lodge in the hotel close to the airport so that they don't miss their flights. Are you guys learning? Again, if you're learning type, I'm learning. Number 2 factor you want to consider is educational. So is it close to the university? Like the property we just did the open house for here in Valdosta, in state of Georgia, is close to Valdosta University. In fact, facing the theater arts, it's close to the Air Force Base. So these are factors. You see, Air Force is air, isn't it? University educational. So even though it's not Atlanta, but because this particular city has all those factors, then it becomes a good location to invest in. So educational. Number 3, there are many, but I'm just going to stop at number 3. Created environment. created environment. This is one of the biggest strengths of GText. When we started, I realized that many of the lands we are doing in Nigeria, you are the one to create what will make the value to go up. So if you are waiting for if you are waiting for educational, very good road, airport, or your lower, right? So you have to, and that's why see tomorrow. I'm always a big fan of big property. I remember here in the US when we the new property we have in Houston is 40 acres. And I was with one of my friends and I was telling her about the property, it's $5 million. The guy said, can't you do all this 10 units, 20 units, 30, all this 40 acres? How do this guy? And it was just like, you, this guy. But for me, I've been used to that in Nigeria. An average of my state, I think the list is maybe 20, but most of it are 50, 100, 200, 500, like that. And the reason why I go for large quantity is because the intention is to do what we call created environment. Okay? Put a golf course there, put a polo club, again, these are some of the ways we are also contributed to the industry, because I tell people when it comes to business, you shouldn't just be interested in your own company succeeding. You should be more interested in the industry succeeding. Things that we brought in is more educational. We're one of those who made this concept of land banking, very available for everybody to just understand how it works. And it has encouraged a lot of people to then go into real estate business in Nigeria. But for me, one of the major things we realized was we saw some of those who had gone ahead of us where they had estates for 10 years, nothing is happening. 15 years, it's just the push as it started, right? So we knew that if we're going to get into the industry, we need to improve on it, right? And so the concept we've had to do now is such that, and by the way, some people have been accusing me, why are you expanding in Dubai? Why are you expanding in the US? What we're building, our vision is a vision 2035, the immediate vision. We have 12 years to go to do 200 estates in Africa. And it's going to cost us $20 billion. And I can categorically tell you, I can't get that money in Nigeria. So we're having to demonstrate what we're doing in Nigeria, outside of Nigeria, so that we can attract foreign direct investment back to what we're trying to do in Nigeria, because the majority of them will not follow you back. I'll give you a simple story. I've hosted from John Maxwell, Grant Cardone, Robert Kiyosaki, Brian Tracy, all of them. And I remember now wanting to do an event in Dubai. So, but it's a fiscal event. I wanted all of them. They were all excited to come. Something happened. I just said, let me change the venue. Let's do Nigeria. Every one of them declined. Just to even come and speak and go out, all of them declined. That's how difficult it is. And this is all you will pay to come and speak. How much more people you are convincing to come and put money? But if you are replicating what you're trying to do back in Africa, they will judge you based on what they've seen you do, right? And that convince them to say, okay, well, I'm not still ready to follow you back to your Nigeria before they kidnap me, but I know your properties here in America or in Dubai. I can come and hold you people, right? But I will go ahead and invest with you people. So ultimately, and this is very important, many of the created environments we are promising in our estates, many of them we cannot afford to use the money you are paying for land to do those things. And this is, Mr. Clement will bear witness, a lot of people need to respect developers in Africa, because you don't know what we go through. All this cover you people are paying for land. That you think that's what you know. We have an estate now in two estates actually. One in Ipejuleki, Jasper Estate, then the same Jasper Estate in Abuja. The Ipejuleki one, we're already at a loss of 1 billion naira on that property. Because, and in our own case, you know, we tried to do like premium. We only sold 23 units, 23 plots. We're first round. We did interlocking for the entire neighborhood, right? Now we have provided solar street lights. We've done this, we've done that. The one in Abuja, we're at a loss of over 300 million. Okay? So you and everyone who bought land and those who are now keying into housing, you are benefiting the same. So some of them, when we started selling the land, they were going for, this Jasper was going for 6.5 million. Now it's going for 50 million. Okay? You should love me. If you're one of those who bought the land, the one in Abuja side with 4 million, now it's going for 30 million. So the reality of land banking, and I hope, and this is the same thing Landway is doing. I've seen a lot of the projects that Mr. Clement is doing fantastic work. The reality is that it is not all this small money, and he's even more, he still does all this, come and pay 1 million, come and invest for me without apology. Okay? If you don't have $50,000, don't even call our office. We don't have anything that's small. And that's for Nigeria. If you want to do anything outside of Nigeria, if you don't have at least $300,000, don't call our office. Don't waste your time. You know, you can, of course, become a broker and all of those things. No wahala. But let's just be as honest, and we don't have apology for that. You know, if you want something of value, you must be willing to pay values. Mr. Clement that does affordable housing, we're trying to help the poor. Good luck. You know, and I respect him for his ministry. That's his own ministry. I have held on to my own to my own ministry. I hope you guys have learned something today. I think that's my time. I'm going to stop there. I can take questions. God bless you. Thank you for having me.
Interesting. You've turned the education now to comedy. Maybe you have. All right, thank you very much. That was something else. That was phenomenal. You can see how relaxed the presentation was. You were just hearing stories and then mixing it with comedy. I need to step up in my own game too. I'm too serious. He has said that I have ministry to the poor. He didn't know. What he didn't know is that I have actually switched to. I've switched, but we are still trying to give consideration. Thank you so much. That was phenomenal. As the custom is, let me just quickly run through a few just to summarize some of the things he shared. How many of you derive significant value from this? Can you just give our special guest a digital round of applause, please? Dr. Stephen Akintayo. He says it as though it is not he's not saying anything, but he's dropping heavy-duty nuggets, you know. He said some things. He started by inspiring us, saying that use your mouth to say where you are going, not where you are. He went on to tell us that he said, name one billionaire who doesn't have a bad name or the other, where people are not saying something negative about them, especially in this era of social media, where, you know, media has been democratized and everybody can use their mouth to say whatever they want. And he says something that there's no decision that is not a risk. Very, very powerful, very powerful. He said every great decision is a risk, but you have to decide whether that journey is worth going. And then he said he noticed that trust was scarce before he came into the industry, even when he started in the industry. and he decided to begin to build around that. Then he went on into the topic of the day by talking about what real estate is. And he said, real estate is land and everything else above and beneath the land. He said land is the actual real substance and not everything else. Okay, so he spoke about his story, his journey to Silicon Valley. He talked about how that even though they are tech companies, they have heavy duty investment, and that those things created a light bulb moment for him. He went on to talk about land banking and saying land banking is the process of land aggregation for the purpose of investment or development. Okay, and then talked about 3 types of land: undeveloped, pre-developed, developed. I know if he had more time, he would go into the pre-developed, he will go into developed, but we didn't go into that, and because of our time. But he switched his camera to show us, and then asked how many of us think, what type of land is this? And many of us said it's undeveloped. And clearly, it was an undeveloped land. There are several undeveloped land. And then he went on to factors to consider when land banking. He did mention that not all undeveloped land is worth buying, but if it has these following factors, he mentioned 3. He said there are several of them, but he mentioned 3. Number 1, he mentioned location. If it is facing a highway like the one he showed us, highway, that is land transportation, or railway, or shares proximity with airports, he said go for it for land banking. And then he talked about educational factors too, that if how close it is to the university, college, and all of those things. Those are pointers to the city development. Then he went on to talk about created environment, and he gave his example that if you are in Nigeria, in particular in Africa, there are many things that this our kobo contribution can never ever create, and that it has informed the strategy for him to go international and then repatriate funds to come and create those type of environment. And he gave us examples of some of the estates they've already launched that at the time they launched it, they sold it at a very ridiculous amount, and those properties are now worth a lot more. And he expressed some of the losses they've even incurred, but it's been to the benefit of the subscribers. And I think that was where we stopped. So we're going to be taking a bit of questions after this next session. So I hand over to Mr. Okpe. So please, media team, please be on standby. Let's take that. And if you have any questions, please feel free to drop your questions. We'll be taking those questions from our first and second speaker after this. Thank you very much. All right, so Dr. Stephen Akintayo, you have a question here. Somebody is saying that what are the major precautions to take when investing in land banking? You can unmute, I think.
Okay, I think it automatically requires the host to for one kind of mute. So what are the precautions to take? I think first of all, don't avoid omonile except you build infrastructure to omonile issues, right? A lot of us who are developers have built institutions around the business we do. And also because we're buying large scale, so it is worth the headache, right? Because if you're buying, let's say 500 plots, right? The typical PR you need to do, a lot of our properties, every layer you have to send them around. Youth are doing this, you support them. And you also have on your board, retired IG, military generals, you have great lawyers who could help you fight the typical, if you need to fight, they could do all that for you. I remember one of those land we bought and the family was trying to play games. I went there to meet the Olori with a combined team of military and police. And I told Baba, I said, if it's money, I have. If it's Christian spirituality, I have. If it's Ogboni, my uncle is a high chief. So he will help me on behalf of that part. But by every means, if we are to go to war, I am fully represented on our side. Well, let's just say I got my land. So my advice is don't avoid the money leg, right? Because whatever your eyes see. Number two advice is that you should also understand where you're buying, right? It's not just, oh, the developer told me to buy. Oh, I think it was nice. Know what you are buying. Be convinced, because part of what goes on in Nigeria is speculation. If somebody says, oh, GTEx is fake, then now you believe because somebody said, not that you knew it for yourself. So investigate where that property is for yourself. Understand the potential of that area, the opportunities, and the potential of that place to appreciate in value. So it's important to do your own research as to the potential. Number three, read the dotted lines, right? Don't go and buy because, okay, Dr. Siri said don't buy money, let buy from developers. Yeah, developers have rules, okay? Some don't even do refund. Don't come and start playing games because those games, you won't play it here in America. If you sign the dotted line in America that says no refund, if you like, carry the person to court, you know nothing will happen, right? The judge will tell you that contract is a living spirit. It's a law. We can't change it, okay? But because you think you can blackmail people in Nigeria, you went ahead, you signed certain contracts. Now you're shouting, oh, they cheated me. Oh, they did this. So read the contract, be willing to obey the contract that you have signed. The companies have rights. If you're dealing with developers, there's a deduction, even if they agree for refund. Because every transaction you do, there is a referral that they will pay somebody. Okay? It could be 10%, could be 15%, could be 20%. Some companies even pay as much as 25% to 28% in commission to some people who brought you, right? Whether you know them or not. So they also have overhead costs, they have salaries, they can't call back. Mr. Clement can't call back his employee that attended to you 2 years ago, who probably is no longer in the company, and say return the salary that we paid you because the person who part of his money was what we used to pay you the salary says he wants his refund. So you to contribute back. It doesn't work that way. So companies are entitled to their deductions, and so read it, understand it, and like I keep saying, today you may be the investor, tomorrow you may be the developer. What you sow, you will reap, and it's the way life works. What you sow, you will reap. If you go about spoiling other people's business for one thing or the other, it's just not, you will reap it as well. One of the values that I came into the industry with is, of course, privately, I'm entitled to my opinion, but you'll never see me publicly condemn any other real estate company. Everybody has the right to how they run their own business. Okay? And it's just the reality here. And it's a culture we must all build. You don't need to bring somebody down to rise up. You don't need to kill another man's business for your own business to grow. So I was